everybody, how's it going? I'm the Tmeister, and welcome back to the Greater Timbukton region. You're probably wondering, where the heck are we, Tim? I don't recognize this part of the map at all. Why are we not in Timbukton? So this episode wasn't really supposed to happen. We've suffered a minor setback in Timbukton, unfortunately, and it kind of forced me to... Well, I mean, it didn't really force me, but I just felt it better to do this episode instead of what I had originally planned for the time being. So essentially what happened is the other day I booted up the game and I was going to record the next episode of Timbukton, which was really supposed to be on expanding the actual city of Timbukton. But unfortunately, one of the asset creators of a house pack that I use very heavily around Timbukton has decided to remove all of their assets from the workshop. It's kind of unfortunate, but at the same time, we don't know what the asset creator is going through. I just really hope that they're okay. But it's kind of caused a little bit of an issue in Timbukton at the same time. So what happened was we've lost about 10,000 people in the entire Timbukton region due to those assets just randomly disappearing. And it left Timbukton with a whole bunch of empty lots all over the entire region, really, like in Aberdeen and Edinburgh. The whole region is just filled with empty lots. Luckily, there was a couple of people in the community who were able to back up some of his asset creations, so I was able to kind of re-import those back into the save. So that saved us quite a bit of trouble, honestly, because without that backup, literally like half the city is missing. So that would have been pretty terrible. So that's what brought me to this episode here. I've sort of brought this episode out of town, so you won't see any of the mess that we're kind of in right now. But this is something that I've been planning for a long time right here. So I'll speak about that for a little bit. Basically, what this is, if you haven't really guessed yet, this is going to turn into a truck stop or like a rest area. It's going to be a lot of things. But this little highway interchange here has been built for a long while, and I figured, this would be a perfect area for this kind of truck stop here. It's just outside of town, not too far. It's right along the main highway leading into Timbukton, so I felt like this would be the perfect location for this kind of rest stop. It's going to be pretty big for a rest stop. It's not going to be like the kind of rest stop that you pull off of the highway and you have like a little information center or bathrooms or whatever. It's not that kind of rest area. It's more of like a truck stop. So we're going to have a couple of fast food restaurants. As you've seen me plop down just now, we have a big Shell gas station along with like the big truck refueling centers. So you'll see it's going to turn into something decently big. But as I was building this, I thought to myself, this could be like, I don't want to say like the start of something, but I got the idea while building this that at some point in Timbukton, I want to build an actual rest stop. So the style where you don't really have any roads connecting to it. It's kind of just like an off-ramp, and you go there to park your car, have a nap or something, and then just pull right back into the highway. I'm not sure if there's like an official term for those, because in my part of the country in Canada, we don't have those at all. Like I'm on the East Coast, and the only one that I've ever seen in Canada was like in Ontario near Toronto. So yeah, it's not something that I can personally give you guys any insight on, because I've only seen like 2 in my life. But I guess they're fairly common in the States. So yeah, anyway. But yeah, so it's kind of unfortunate that, I'm in this situation. I mean, it's not really a big deal. It's going to take me a couple of hours just to fill in all of those empty lots that are all around town. I'd say that there's probably a couple of hundred at least, not only in Timbukton, but all over the map. And what's kind of like another problem that caused as well is a lot of places were missing power. So because, especially like in the rural areas of the map, a lot of the houses were kind of close enough to each other where they could provide power to their neighbors. I don't have the power line roads. That's really something that I should invest in, honestly. But, I don't right now. So it caused like huge portions of the map to go without power. And I was forced to add some new houses there and get those places up and running. Like, I think the entire town of Aberdeen was out of power due to like some empty lots or some houses disappearing, which were no longer connected to power lines, feeding power to Aberdeen. But, that wasn't really that much of a big deal. But yeah, I really have to invest in power line roads. And that would save me a whole bunch of nodes as well. And somebody actually mentioned that there's a mod. I was totally unaware of this, by the way. Somebody mentioned there's a mod where it totally removes the need for water pipes. That would be a really good idea to invest into that mod too. Of course, that would save us a whole bunch of nodes and segments, because that's kind of a concern. I talked about that during the construction of the airport, that we are kind of getting up there with the nodes. But I think that would totally eliminate that issue if I was to download that no pipes needed mod. But yeah, there's not a whole lot to say in this episode. It's kind of like your conventional truck stop, honestly, and a lot of what I'm building right here, I'm just kind of figuring out as I go. But I actually really like the result of this creation here. Like, it's really neat. Yeah, and one thing I suppose I can talk about too, I had never actually mentioned where this is on the map. You guys are probably still wondering. But yeah, here I'll put a screenshot on the map of where we are exactly. So as you can see, we're in the southernmost part of the map. So this is actually a part of the map that I've been excited to start building for quite a while now. And the reason for that is I just really like how it's kind of in its own little nook. Like, this part of the map is just filled with a different kind of terrain compared to the rest of the map. So there's a whole bunch of little coves, little inlets by the water where we can build some nice little fishing villages. Plenty of potential in this part of the map. And I don't know, due to the fact that it might take me quite a while to fix Timbukton to where like it's actually looking like Timbukton again, it might take me quite a while. So for the time being, I might just focus on this area for the next little while. So part of the envisionment that I have for this entire area, it's gonna be like kind of suburban. I'm not even sure if that's an actual term, but typically in a North American city, you know how your downtown sort of threads out into suburbs and eventually you get your farmland or country land or whatever. It's kind of going to be a mixture between suburbs and like pure country farmland and whatever else I decide to build here. It's going to be pretty interesting. Like, it's going to be farmland mixed with a bunch of random subdivisions all over the place. So you'll find like grocery stores seeming in the middle of nowhere. I don't know. It'll be pretty interesting. So part of like, I'm guessing half of this part of the map is going to be just that, like the suburban thing. But with this part of the map having so much little coves and little like nooks and crannies along the water, I'm probably gonna make some old fishing towns intertwined in between everything. So it's gonna be a pretty interesting landscape. And with this being right beside a major highway too, I was planning on making a large power plant area. I'm not sure if it's going to be like a big nuclear power plant like I recently built in the Chenov Stock series, but nonetheless, it's going to be a large power generation station, and that's probably going to be right by the water. pretty close to Timbukton, I'm thinking. I think I have the location picked out for that, but that's still a long ways away, guys. It totally depends on how the series pans out. But I gotta say, with there finally being some civilization on this part of the map, that means that we're only missing one more county, if you will, of the map that I have not touched at all, besides there having a highway running right through it. That is the Algonquin County. So I'm actually really excited on getting started with that eventually. There's a whole bunch of stuff I want to build there too. But yeah, guys, that is going to be it for this episode. Forgive me if it's like super short. I know last episode was pretty short as well. I apologize for that. As for next episode, I'm not too sure what's going to happen there. I don't know if we're going to go back into Timbukton or maybe just continue on with what we're doing right now. We'll see when I get the time to fix up Timbukton. But all in all, guys, not a huge deal about the whole Timbukton situation. We'll get everything fixed up, so I'm not too concerned about that. So yeah, I hope you really enjoyed this episode, guys. If you did, please be sure to give it a thumbs up. Also, be sure to subscribe to the channel for many more videos just like these to come out. And also check out my Patreon page if you'd like early access to all of my episodes. And that is it for me for today, guys. So until the next episode, please take care.